In this two-part series, I'll be talking about porn and masturbation heavily. And while I do believe that talking about these topics can help both men and women be free from porn and masturbation, I have to warn you that viewer discretion is advised. With that being said, let's talk about porn and why I should stop watching it. There's a high demand in the porn world for videos that contain either young people or depict incest. And these definitely point to places that the porn industry is trying to pervert in our world, but what's even more unfortunate is that these videos, when they aren't sourced from well-known porn actors and actresses, they usually come from people who are actively sex trafficking others. And this is the reality of millions of porn videos. And what's even more unfortunate is that there are people who are actively profiting off the sexual exploitation of others' bodies. And when you consume that kind of content, that's what we're consuming. This is the truth behind the porn industry. It's fueled by exploitation and perversion. And I'm not saying this to condemn you for consuming this kind of content. People don't usually seek out this kind of information, but I just hope that by shedding light on the truth here, I can shift your perspective and kind of guide you out of this hellscape. And you might even be watching this right now and thinking to yourself like, I don't watch that kind of porn. I watch actors and actresses who make millions of dollars a year. They love their job. They consent to the content. So as long as they say it's okay, it's okay. And sure, I hear you, but for a second, let's put them into perspective. These people found themselves at a point in life they thought that selling their bodies on camera was the only viable option for them. Like, no one strives to be a porn star, and this isn't to condemn them either, but nobody wants to sell their body on camera. And even if they do like the money that they make, I bet that they would trade in this job if they could. Because in a general sense, this job comes with a lot of shame. What's placed on the internet is forever. So imagine these people try to get out the porn industry and they go to get another job and a background check is done on them. And even if it just was one video, one time, it's still a part of their permanent digital footprint. And even in real life, imagine being recognized in public by the person that watches you have sex through a screen. That's not normal. The people consuming porn don't see the porn stars as human. They see them as bodies, see them as a means to an end. And oftentimes you can quickly forget that this is somebody's son and someone's daughter. And these fellow human beings found themselves in such a rough spot that they thought that selling their bodies on camera was the only real option for them. And because of the money, they stayed. And how would this affect a person's body image to be boiled down to just your physical attributes for millions of people for billions of dollars a year? This isn't how humans should live. Like, no person should be subject to this lifestyle. As humans, we all go through stuff behind closed doors. Like me personally, I've gone through a few mental battles on my own, but still somehow kept a smile on my face in public. I know that a lot of y'all can relate to that as well, so it might seem as though these actors and actresses are unaffected by being a part of the porn industry, but we never know how it affects them, both physically and mentally. Because you can't always see those effects at first. And you can't really see it in yourself either. At least, not immediately. When you watch porn, you release chemicals into your brain that tell your brain, this is good, please give me more. And by consuming porn, you're consuming nothing besides a counterfeit of the original design that God created sex to be. So when you consume porn and teach your body that this is the standard, that this is sex, when you do ultimately get married and have sex with your husband or wife, and they can't replicate the fantasy of porn, it'll make having sex that much harder for y'all. Because your consumption of porn and masturbation affects more than just you. Let's even step out the topic of marriage for a second. When you consume porn or sexual content, you're again teaching your brain that this is the way that I view a person's body. So now you skew the way you see that guy on the street, or now you're viewing your female friends differently, and you might even start undressing people in your mind, or even imagining yourself having sex with them, even at times where you don't really want to. And you get caught up in these fantasies, these unhealthy ones. But it's so much deeper than just watching porn or masturbating. More likely than not, most of us started to consume porn when we hit puberty. We started getting this influx of hormones and emotions, and in our society, we do a very, very, very bad job about teaching kids about sex. It's a very taboo thing. I don't like it, but that's a different topic. But as we began to consume porn, it became habitual. Internally, we knew that we shouldn't talk about this, we shouldn't take it outside of our rooms, and we definitely shouldn't get caught doing it. But still, it was habitual, and for some of us, even more than habitual. And our brain just kind of became hooked on the feeling of reaching an orgasm, and before we knew it, we're addicted. So now it's turned into, I'm bored, I'm gonna watch porn and masturbate. I'm sad, so I'm gonna watch porn and masturbate. I'm alone, so I'm gonna watch porn and masturbate. And it becomes a response to so many emotions. So when you face more complex things like childhood trauma and your only ever known response was watch porn and masturbate, then it'll be the only thing that you know. Let's say, for example, you faced neglection as a child. You wanted to feel close to somebody. So you would watch porn and you would masturbate in order to get that counterfeit level of closeness, at least for a few minutes. Or maybe as a child, you never had too much agency over yourself. People always told you what to do. You never really got to choose what you were doing and where you were going. So you can watch porn and masturbate in order to feel what you think is masculinity and dominance. Or maybe as a kid, you faced rejection. Maybe you were taught that your body is undesirable and that you're not worthy of love. You were never really the pretty girl growing up. But when you watch porn, nobody can deny you. All they're saying is yes. And you're no longer facing that rejection. But it's not real. It's never real. I doubt that most people really understand why they want to masturbate. They kind of just chalk it up to, I'm horny. But when you see that and when you experience certain things like stress, anxiety, and depression, and that during those experiences you find yourself floating towards several vices like sex, porn, and masturbation, you've now exposed the real reason as to why you keep engaging in things that you're trying to break free from. And I'm not saying this to condemn you, but instead to challenge you to look into what the void is in you. What is that void asking for, and why do you think that porn, sex, and masturbation can fill that void? Personally, I've been addicted to both porn and masturbation, and I wanted to break free from it for such a long time, but I could just never seem to, at least not for long. That was until I discovered what was missing in me, what had always been missing in me. I yearned for God. That might sound really cliche, but it's the truth. John 15:4 says, "Remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot produce fruit unless you remain in me." These are the words of Jesus, and they certainly ring true when you realize just how hungry each of our souls really are. We yearn to be fruitful, and we can't be if we're severed from the vine. You have to be grafted back in, and then in time, you'll bear that fruit again. Because porn can't help you bear that fruit. Masturbation can help you bear that fruit. Only Jesus can. Because only Jesus can free you from the grip of pornography. Only He can free you from the cycle of masturbation. Only He can free you from these violent and destructive addictions. And I just pray that through this video, that can be shown to you. Not only do I hope to expose the truth behind the porn industry to you, but I also hope to expose to you the light that is Jesus Christ. But I also feel like it would be irresponsible of me to tell you why to stop watching porn, but not how, which we'll cover next, because you will be broken free in the name of Jesus. If today's video helped you, make sure you leave a like, a comment, and subscribe so I can keep making videos like this one. And a question for you in the comments: what has your journey been like with pornography? Do you still struggle with it? If so, why? Or have you gotten over it? If so, how? Let us know down in the comments. And send this video to a person who you know could help. But also just sit back and reflect on this video. Until next time, this has been Why You Stop Watching Pornography.